Come on, everybody. Let's go. Get ready for a summertime adventure from another Sommer-Time Story. This is the story of Your Job is Easy, written and told by award-winning author Carl Sommer.
Sam and Jane lived on a farm with their children, Billy, Susie, and baby Timmy. Taking care of the farm was hard work, but they loved it anyway. For them, life had always been peaceful and pleasant. That is, until today. The problem began when Jane looked at the newly plowed fields and asked, "Sam, why do you plow the rows so crookedly?" "What difference does it make," answered Sam, "if the rows are perfectly straight or a little crooked?" "Well," said Jane, "if you're going to plow, you might as well do it right." "It's not as easy as you think," said Sam. "Come on," laughed Jane. "How hard can it be to plow a straight line?" "Well," grumbled Sam, "if you think it's so easy, why don't you try it? You'll see how hard it is." "I'd love to," said Jane with a big smile. "But then who will do my chores?" "I will," chuckled Sam. "Your job is easy." Jane put her hands on her hips. "If you really think my job is easy, let's switch jobs. I'd love to have your easy job." "Great," said Sam. "We'll start tomorrow." What's happening here between Sam and Jane? Mercy?
They're thinking their job is easy, so they're switching jobs.
Yes, they thought their jobs were easy, and they switched jobs. And it all started out, Jane looked out the window and sees the rows a little bit crooked. "Come on, Sam, why can't you plow the rows straight?" And it really doesn't make much difference, but sometimes some women do a lot of complaining, and they complain too much. And Sam says, "Well, you think it's so easy? Why don't you try it?" And she says, "Well, I'd love to, but who's going to do my work?" "Your job is easy, I'll do that." "Well, let's switch jobs then." And each one thinks each other's job is easy. And let's see what happens now. When Sam and Jane went to sleep that night, they had many happy thoughts about the next day. Because they thought their work would be so easy, they dreamed of all the fun things they would do with their spare time. What is Sam dreaming about as he lays in bed? Jocelyn?
He's going to go fishing.
Yes, Sam is laying in bed here, dreaming, all my spare time, I'm going to go fishing. I'll have plenty of spare time. What is Jane dreaming about doing? Okay, Isaiah?
She's dreaming about laying in a hammock, relaxing, and reading a book.
Yes, Jane is just going to enjoy the day after she gets all the work done, lie in a hammock, and just read a book. And so they got some good ideas what they're going to be doing. Watch what happens. In the middle of the night, little Timmy became hungry and began to cry. Wah! Sam was sound asleep. Jane poked Sam in the ribs and called sweetly, "Sam!" Sam grunted and rolled over. "Oh, Sam," she called louder, "the baby's crying, and today you're the mama." Then Jane rolled over and went happily back to sleep. Sam had not planned for this. He stumbled out of bed and put some milk in the baby's bottle. Then he heated the bottle and sat down to feed little Timmy. I hope you parents are watching this, you men. All right? Learn to appreciate all the hard work your wives do in taking care of the babies and the children. And here's Sam. Now, he's not too happy here. Now, she just rolls over the bed and just pokes him and says, "Sam, oh, Sam, it's your job now to take care of the baby." How does Sam look like sitting in his rocking chair, Claire?
Tired and unhappy.
Yes, he is not a happy man. He didn't expect this to happen. He wants to go fishing. Now his sleep is disturbed. He has to get up, heats the bottle up, and feeds the baby. So there he is, a very depressed father sitting in the chair, giving a bottle to a baby. Ring! Sam had just crawled back into bed when the alarm went off. "Oh, no," he groaned. "Oh, yes," shouted Jane as she leaped out of bed. While getting dressed, Jane smiled and said, "This is going to be such an easy day." She skipped off to the shed and began to whistle a happy tune. As she passed by the vegetable garden, she put on the sprinkler system. Jane had the whole day planned. She was going to work smarter, not harder. Jane said to herself, "Sam always carries the heavy buckets to feed the animals, but I have a much better idea. I'll use the tractor." How is Jane going to work now? Olivia?
Smarter, not harder.
Yeah, she's got it all planned. She knows what she's going to do. She wakes up in the morning and she's whistling. She's so happy. This is going to be an easy day. She's going to use her brains. She's going to work smarter, not harder. Let's see what happens to Jane. Jane rode the tractor for a short distance and then it stopped. She cranked the engine, but it would not start. She cranked and cranked some more. By the time she thought to check the gas, the battery had run down. By now, Jane was behind in her chores, and the cow was very unhappy about it. Jane hurriedly milked the cow and then rushed to get a battery from the truck and a can of gas. Switching batteries was not easy, but after getting another battery and a tank full of gas, the tractor roared to life. Now the goats and pigs and chickens were yelling for food. "Oh my," said Jane. "Those animals are really impatient." Jane loaded the food onto the trailer and then ran to fill the pails with water. Meanwhile, Billy and Susie were ready for breakfast. Since Sam had spent so much of the night awake with baby Timmy, he was having a hard time getting out of bed. Billy and Susie began bouncing on the bed and yelling, "Get up, Daddy! We're hungry!" Okay, mumbled Sam. "I'm getting up." As he put on his robe, he said, "I'll have plenty of free time today. I'll just take a nap this afternoon." Sam walked into the kitchen and proudly announced, "Today, Daddy is going to make everyone an extra special breakfast." Sam began to whistle. "This is going to be such an easy day," he said to himself as he cracked the eggs. What is Sam going to do today? Deshaun?
Cook an extra special breakfast and then later on take a nap.
Yes, he's going to cook an extra special breakfast for the kids. He's going to give the kids a meal that's something special that he's going to make. And then the day is going to be so easy, he's going to take a nap. Because if you remember, he's got up in the middle of the night to take care of the baby, so he's tired. Let's see what happens to Sam here. Just as Sam started toward the stove, Rover spotted Kitty. In a flash, Rover and Kitty dashed across the floor, right between Sam's legs. "Oops!" yelled Sam as he tried to dodge the playful pets. But he slipped and the bowl of eggs went flying out of his hands. Eggs flew everywhere. "Oh no," yelled Sam. "I'd better clean up this mess fast." As he picked up the mop, baby Timmy began to cry. "The children really need to be fed first," he muttered to himself. "I'll clean up the floor later." Instead of eggs, he said to Billy and Susie, "I'll make you some oatmeal. It will be ready in no time." As Sam hurried to get the oatmeal, he forgot about the eggs on the floor. Swoosh! He stepped into the gooey mess and slid right into the kitchen cabinet, banging his nose. "Oh, my nose, my nose," he cried as he searched for a bandage. After bandaging his nose, Sam put the oatmeal on the stove. "While the oatmeal cooks," he said, "I'll go and clean the floor." As Sam began to clean the floor, he said, "Oh my, these eggs are very sticky. I need to get a pail of water." Meanwhile, Jane had come to the house to fill the water buckets for the thirsty animals. But just as she had turned the faucet on outside, Sam had turned the faucet on in the basement. With the sprinkler system on and both faucets running, water came out slowly. While Sam was waiting for the pail to fill up with water, he heard Billy scream, "Daddy, there's smoke in the kitchen!" "Oh no," yelled Sam, "the oatmeal!" He raced upstairs, but he was too late. "What a mess! What a mess!" groaned Sam as he saw oatmeal bubbling onto the stove. He quickly opened all the windows to let the smoke clear out. The children cried louder, "Daddy, we're hungry!" Sam reached for a loaf of bread. "I'll make you peanut butter sandwiches." Now remember, Sam was dreaming about he's going to have such an easy day, and we find that things are not going so well with him. And he's going to make a very special breakfast for his children. And what does he end up giving them? Yes, Miguel?
Peanut butter sandwiches.
Yes, peanut butter sandwiches. The easiest thing you can make. And things are not going too well with Sam over here. Now the house is filled with smoke. Watch what happens next. After feeding all the children, Sam looked at the messy stove. "I need to get a bucket of water to clean this up." Suddenly it hit him. Water! "Oh no! I forgot to turn off the faucet downstairs." Sam raced to the basement, but he was too late. Jane had turned off the sprinkler system and the outside faucet. Now water inside was coming out full force. The basement was flooded. "What a mess! What a mess!" groaned Sam as he sloshed through the water. "Why is it that everything I do is wrong?" What is Sam saying now about his easy job? Juliet?
Why is everything I do going wrong?
Yes, why is everything I'm doing is going wrong? Now remember, he's dreaming, oh, this is going to be such an easy day. And you men, learn to appreciate what your wives do. Sam did. He's learning a hard lesson. And wives do a lot of work in the house. And so let's see what happens now. Outside, Jane had the trailer loaded and was on her way to feed the hungry animals. They were making such an uproar that Jane drove the tractor fast, much too fast over the rocky road. Suddenly, a wheel hit a rock and the trailer overturned, spilling everything onto the road. "Oh my," she cried. "What am I going to do?" She sat there thinking. Suddenly, she jumped up and said, "I have a great idea. I'll let Mama Pig eat the food off the ground." Jane hurried to the pig pen and tied a rope around Mama Pig. With the rope securely tied around one hand, Jane opened the gate with the other. But when Mama Pig saw the food, she bolted through the open gate. Jane tried to hold her back, but the pig was much stronger. Jane slipped and Mama Pig dragged her through the mud on her face. The baby pigs tagged happily along. Mama Pig did not stop running until she came to the food. "Oh, my nose," cried Jane. Jane went to the shed to get a bandage for her nose. She washed herself as well as she could and then ran back to put the pigs into their pen. "Here, piggy, piggy, piggy," Jane yelled. But the baby pigs did not want to go back to their pen. They were having too much fun running around the farm. Meanwhile, the goats and chickens were yelling louder than ever for their food. Jane finally enticed Mama Pig into the pen with more food, but she had to chase the squealing piglets all over the farm. Jane was exhausted from chasing the baby pigs and carrying them to the pen. Then she went and fed all the rest of the animals. "Whew," sighed Jane. "Am I glad that's done? That was a lot of work." Now she was very hot and very tired. No longer did she whistle. How did Jane feel now? Andrew?
Very hot and very tired.
Yes, she's very hot and very tired and miserable. And I want to say something to the women. Appreciate the work that your husbands do also. And we ought to learn to appreciate. And you children, learn to appreciate what your father and your mother do for you. All right, now she's not happy here. She's got a bandaged nose. Sam has a bandaged nose. They're both not too happy. The whistling had also stopped in the house. Sam was busy scooping pails of water from the flooded basement. And when he spotted clothes that needed to be washed, dried, and ironed, he became even more depressed. He shook his head and groaned, "How will I ever get everything done?" When Sam looked at those clothes that had to be washed, dried, and ironed, what happened to him? Emma?
He felt even more depressed.
Yes, that really, oh no, I got to do all that yet too. That's the way he felt. It was a very depressing day for Sam. By now it was lunchtime. The children called, "Daddy, we're hungry." "But I just fed you," complained Sam. Sam had worked hard the whole morning, but nothing was finished. The dishes were dirty, the stove was caked with burnt oatmeal, and the floor was covered with eggs. Worst of all, the basement was still underwater. Sam had planned to prepare a special lunch, but now all he wanted was to make something very quick and very easy. "I'm going to feed you cold cereal and milk," said Sam, wiping his brow. "Daddy has a lot of work to do." With all the animals happy and full, things in the field began to settle down. Jane walked over to the tractor and smiled. "Now I'll show Sam how to plow." All day long, Jane had been looking forward to plowing the field. Now she could relax on the tractor and prove once and for all how easy it was to plow a straight line. Jane looked behind her to make sure she was going straight. She was doing a pretty good job, that is, until the tractor began to slow down. Jane looked down and saw that she had driven the tractor right into a large mud puddle. Jane pushed harder on the gas pedal, but the tires only spun in the mud. And the more she pushed on the gas pedal, the deeper the tractor sank into the mud. She was stuck. "Now what should I do?" she groaned. Jane thought and thought. Then she remembered the mule, Manny. "He can help me pull out the tractor." Jane trudged through the mud to get the mule, but stubborn Manny would not come. Jane hollered and pushed and tugged, but Manny refused to budge. Then a thought flashed through her mind. "That's it," she said. "I'll fill a bucket with Manny's favorite food, carrots." When Manny saw the carrots, he jumped up and followed Jane to the tractor. Jane tied Manny to the tractor. He pulled, but the tractor would not move. "I have a great idea," thought Jane. "I'll get a longer rope so Manny can get a running start." She went to the barn and found an old rope. "Oh, good," she said. "This should get the tractor out of the mud." Jane hurried back with the longer rope. She again tied Manny to the tractor and put the carrots out in front of him. Then Jane pulled on the rope as hard as she could and yelled, "Go, Manny, go!" Manny leaped up and raced for the carrots. He ran so fast that the rope snapped. Before Jane knew it, she was yanked off her feet and dragged through the mud on her face. "That's it," said Jane, shaking her head and spitting out mud. "I'm going home. I don't care if the field is crooked or straight. This has been the hardest day of my life." She left the mule in the field and the tractor in the mud. Then she slowly trudged home. How does Jane feel here now? Olivia?
She's just giving up.
She's giving up. She's forget it. I don't care if the roads are crooked. This is the hardest day of my life. All her plans of laying down in a hammock and reading a book all fell apart. Now she's learning how difficult farm work really is. Let's see what Sam is doing. Back home, Sam was toiling in the basement, mopping up water. He was tired, his nose hurt, his back ached, and the house was a big mess. Sam shook his head and groaned, "Oh, this has been the hardest day of my life." How does Sam feel now? Mercy?
Miserable.
He's very miserable. What does Sam say this day was, Mercy?
The hardest day of his life.
Yes, this is the hardest day of my life. Jane is saying, too, that's the hardest day of her life, and Sam is saying it. Now this is going to be the easiest day of their life. And both are learning a valuable lesson. And you parents, learn to appreciate the work that each one does. And it's a secret of having a happy home. Learning to appreciate one another. And again, I can't stress, you children, appreciate the work that your parents do for you. Just then the kids screamed, "Daddy!" "Oh no," cried Sam. "What now?" "It's Mommy," yelled the children as they jumped up and down. "Mommy is home." Sam ran upstairs to meet her. When Jane entered the house, she stood there in amazement. She saw burnt oatmeal on the stove, dried eggs on the floor, and dirty dishes everywhere. Then she saw Raggedy Sam and his bandaged nose. Sam looked at Jane, first at her tangled hair, next at her muddy clothes, and then at her bandaged nose. Finally, he peeked outside and saw the tractor stuck in the mud. Jane began to chuckle, and so did Sam. Soon they were bending over from laughing so hard. When they told each other what had happened, they started all over again, laughing and laughing some more. Finally, Sam gave Jane a hug and apologized. "I'm sorry for what I said. I've learned my lesson. I'll never again say that your job is easy." Jane gave Sam a kiss and said, "I'm also sorry for what I said. The work you do sure isn't easy." Notice what Sam and Jane did to each other. What did they do? And Emma?
They apologized to each other.
Yes, they apologized to each other. And that's an important lesson to learn in life. If you do something wrong, if you learn something, learn to apologize. "I'm sorry for saying your job is so easy." And they were good sports. They laughed over it. Sometimes people get so mad and they never forgive anything like this. And they both are willing to accept the apologies of one another. And that's important, to be willing to forgive one another. And you learn to do that too. When you do something wrong or someone says, "I'm sorry," learn to forgive them. And that's what they're doing here. Let's see how the story ends. Jane happily went back to her job, which pleased the kids. Sam gladly went back to his job, which pleased the animals. Life went back to being peaceful and pleasant, and that pleased everyone. We should learn to be thankful for the things we have. Think of people living in other places who would be extremely grateful for the things that you take for granted. Think of problems some people live with, such as broken homes, lack of shelter, loneliness, persecution, no schools, floods, storms, starvation, wars, and diseases. Now think of those things that you should be thankful for. Your parents, home, family, friends, school, teachers, the country you live in, food, and health. Learn to be thankful for the things you'll have. You'll be a much happier person if you learn to do this.
And now, an award-winning song from Character Kids.